Hello everybody, it's Philly Kuts with another comic book haul. We are up to number 59, dudes. Can you believe it? Number 59. This is where I come to you every week with my stack of comic books for the week. Because I'm impatient and I like to pay overpriced prices for books that you can get like 2 weeks later for $1. But I can't wait! I can't wait. Alright. I gotta say my condolences to the Metis. But we're going to get those Royals back tonight. People, Mets fans included, stop being so hard on David Wright, man. Dude, okay, he committed a key, crucial error, but the dude's playing with spinal stenosis, man. Just recovering from that. Guy's been putting in a lot of work, and he's been, you know, the poor man's Derek Jeter for the Mets fans for years. So I'm with you, David Wright. I got my cup out in support. I got to tell you, I hope that Met fans have a lot more faith than Buffalo Bill fans. You know, that's my football team. That's the team that I root for. And I got to tell you, talk about a hopeless fan base. The moment that one thing goes wrong with that team, those fans go nuts. I tell you, I'm on a number of boards, groups on Facebook, and look, between you guys, I know the team is awful, okay? They suck. But what I like to do as a hobby is that I like to troll on that website by going in there and being so positive, so cheesily positive, that it drives people nuts because they don't know. They don't know. It's like this Bills fan base. It's like the easiest fan base I've ever had to troll in my life. It's just amazing. It's just amazing. Maybe I'll show you guys some of my posts next week, maybe some other time, but oh my God. I had them in the palms of my hands last week with what I was doing on there. It was great. I was getting like 100 comment responses to my cheesiness. Just being positive. Just win, dude. Just win. All right. I don't know. The whole Mets thing just got me thinking about that. Just please, Met fans, have faith, all right? Have faith. All right. So let's start out with DC like we always do. I'm primarily a DC guy. Colin Bunn is one of my favorite writers for most stuff. We got the good and the bad with him this week. First, let's start with Sinestro number 16. The Sinestro Rising story arc with Lobo seems to have winded down. Basically, Sinestro knows that the Green Lanterns are missing, that they're absent from this universe, and he has taken full advantage of that, folks. He's actually hired the services of Lobo to go and kill key lanterns of all the colors. You know, he's got, assassinated some indigo lanterns. He has Lobo working on the red lanterns. Here's number 16, and I actually felt like the Monster of the Month variant cover with Grumpy Cat. Here it is here. I wasn't able to score a copy of that, but I really wanted to. I almost felt like that was Cullen Bunn trolling people, because a lot of people got pissed off with, I think it happened either in the last issue of Sinestro or it happened in the last issue of Lobo, but Lobo kills Dex-Starr. Or appears to have killed Dex-Starr. I don't know, they might be pulling a Glenn from Walking Dead, if you saw what happened there recently. But Lobo rips apart Dex-Starr, this cat, literally rips him in half, outraged a whole bunch of people. People took to Twitterverse to voice their disgust with Cullen. What the you doing, man? And Cullen Bunn, defiantly was sending out tweets, Note to self, don't kill off any minor character, no matter how minor, or note to aspiring comic book writers, never kill off a character of a book, no matter how minor they are. But then he later tweeted, hey, it's a cat, they have 8 or 9 lives, duh. Something to that effect. I got it wrong, but that's basically what he was saying. Anyway, Sinestro travels to Earth to recruit the services of Black Adam. Now, I'm not familiar with Black Adam at all. This is going to be my first experience with Black Adam. He's ruling this part of Earth. Sinestro is being very proactive now that the Green Lanterns are gone, and he says that he wants to eliminate any enemies that he feels he may have. One such enemy is a group called the Paling, or the Paling. I'm not sure. I think it's Paling. It is a anti-emotion religious cult. And they actually seek out strong emotions in the universe, and they seek to overtake that. They overtake civilizations. They just don't want people to feel. You know, it's kind of like the Manhunters in a way. So, Sinestro recruits the services of Black Adam, because apparently Black Adam has some information. He's actually fought the Paling before. Tells Sinestro, hey, I have some information about that. We need to go to these secret tombs out in the middle of the desert, and Black Adam and Sinestro go on like a walkabout, Crocodile Dundee style, in the desert. And Black Adam tells him, hey, dude, you got to choose one of these tombs to open up, and then you're going to find out your answer. And I'm not going to tell you what happens, but some interestingly dangerous things happen. And, you know, you kind of had to know the setup was coming, because Black Adam told Sinestro beforehand, I only want you to come because this is a place for rulers, not mortals. And Sinestro goes along with it for some reason, and who knows what happens, folks. So, Cullen Bunn doing the work on that. Now we're to the Cullen Bunn piece that everybody's kind of pissed off even more about. Dax Star of Lobo is Aquaman. And that's kind of a very sad, depressing cover, which goes along with the theme of the sad, depressing artwork that has been infecting Aquaman for like the last 4 or 5 issues, ever since Trevor McCarthy has taken over. And then they had a guest artist last week or last month who was even worse. The artwork in this one's better. It seems that maybe being out of an underwater setting has helped a little bit. Basically, Aquaman has been transported by Poseidon to another world, another dimension, if you will. Aquaman has been trying to figure out what this lost civilization known as the Thule have been doing in his world of Atlantis. It's been actually kind of like overtaking his world. Like, it's always been there, present, kind of behind the scenes, and it's starting to emerge and push itself out into the world of Atlantis. And it looks like Aquaman's been transported to this world in its prehistoric state. And he kind of finds some more answers regarding this conspiracy of what's going on here. And we're introduced to some new beings who actually want to help Aquaman, help give him answers. They look like aliens. And the writing in this is a very quick issue to read. I actually read it in like 5 minutes. It's going the route of Rasputin. But some interesting twists and turns, and I have a feeling that finally this may start to gain some momentum a little bit. I'm hoping. I'm really, really hoping. Because it's just been struggling with the whole demon seductus tropes, and the artwork has just really killed it. But like I said, you know, the overworld setting in this seems to do a bit more justice for McCarthy, I believe. There's some good creature battles in here. I know that people always like creatures. So we get to see Aquaman and some swordplay. I know you guys love that. Use that in a sentence. And hopefully it'll pick up. But right now, Aquaman is, you know, believe it or not, I got it on the keep or sleep status. So we got to see where it goes, man. Come on, Cullen, pick it up. All right, Gene Yang, Superman, teams up with another artist, Greg Porter, I believe his name is. The artwork in this, too, has improved drastically. Sorry, I can't talk. Ramada had the duties beforehand, but Porter kind of gives Superman a return to his classic look, if you ask me, even though he's still wearing the t-shirt, and even though he's stuffing his face with tacos. Alright, anyway, this picks up after the whole Truth story arc. Superman has been battling this crime syndicate that are very tech-savvy. Very, very tech-savvy, and they were known as the Hoarder. And they were blackmailing Superman because they found out his identity. They found out that Clark Kent is Superman. They were blackmailing him. They were going to use it against him to get Superman to do things. Lois Lane caught wind of this, and she decides to out Superman's identity to save him from this business of being blackmailed from Hoarder. But it, backfired. There were some serious consequences. Superman has lost, everything in this. And Clark Kent. Clark Kent lost his job at the paper, the Daily Planet. Superman's lost his fortress. Superman is depleted of most of his powers. He can't even fly anymore. All he can do are, super jumps, super bounces. A lot of people, in comment boards and stuff have been really upset with this. And all I got to say is be careful for what you wish for, right? Because for years and years, people have always said, man, Superman is just too powerful. It's kind of a common complaint right now that people are having with the Martian Manhunter. Superman is just too powerful. It kind of sucks. It's boring. And now you got all these people bitching and complaining and wishing that Superman will get back to full strength. He's still pretty strong. He still has the power of the super flare, the solar flare, when things get really bad. But this explores an interesting concept. Superman is on the trail of Hoarder. He wants to find out more and more about Hoarder. Or Horde. I can't pronounce these supervillain names. It's Hordr. I don't know. Hoarder. It kind of leads him to this backwaters club where, of all things, he stumbles upon a D-list superhero fight club. And they're from the Philippines, from Pampanga, the Philippines. And they're playing out myths of gods. But they are kind of D-list superheroes themselves. There's one of them there. And it kind of explores the subject of, what happens when gods start to die and myths start to die and they're faced with extinction or going into oblivion? What does that kind of look like? And I guess it's kind of like playing upon, a very depowered Superman. So he joins this fight club, which is known as Myth Brawl, does battle with all these characters because he needs to earn money to be able to travel around and track this Hoarder fellow. And, and I understand, I get his motivation. Superman can't steal. He's not a thief. So he's got to earn money somehow. I guess his salary, being a reporter at the Daily Planet just wasn't cutting it, and I guess he was living paycheck to paycheck. You know what I'm saying? It's a tough job. It's a dirty job, but somebody's got to do it. I was impressed that Gene Yang is pulling out the Philippines in here. I'm a huge Manny Pacquiao fan. My father has a lot of involvement with the Philippines, and I actually have a half Filipino brother. So I'm really looking forward to actually showing this issue to my dad and to my brother. It's going to be pretty funny. So who knows how this turns out, but Superman meets D-list superhero fight club. See how it goes, man. All right, one issue this month from Marvel, I decided to keep going with Chewbacca. Now, ordinarily, I don't like comic books that don't have a lot of text, that just kind of have you rely on the emotions of the pictures of the panel, But for some reason, Chewbacca just really got to me, Number one, my girlfriend has a chocolate lab named Tucker, and whenever I see Chewbacca in here, I am instantly reminded of Tucker. I think I gotta put up a video for you guys, just so you can see. But basically, there's this upstart gangster. His name is Jom, and he's enslaved the people of this planet. The main character is a child, a young girl known as Zorro. Here she is right here with a shovel to mine. There she is there. She kind of recruits and enlists Chewbacca, who's crash landed on this planet, by the way. She somehow convinces Chewbacca in issue number 1 to help her find her dad. Now, who can resist that? So this has become kind of like a strange buddy story. And it really kind of shows some vulnerabilities of Chewbacca. In particular, Chewbacca, of all things, is claustrophobic. There's a scene in here where Chewbacca needs to kind of go through some tunnels, sewer system tunnels, and he really does not enjoy doing that. Great 5-panel layout of Chewbacca just being, you know, just does not want to go down into the sewer tunnels, man. I mean, I don't blame him with all that fucking hair. Do you know how hard that's going to be to get out? I mean, it's just, I don't blame him. I do not blame Chewbacca. But the artwork of Phil Noto is just spot on. I really like it. I like the way he makes Chewbacca look. Got a stoutness to him. And it's just kind of touching that you really do start to see the care that Chewbacca has for this girl. You know, that he really does seem to care, and he wants to help, and he risks life and limb. And it kind of helps you understand why Han Solo, you know, must have had such an affinity for Chewbacca. You know, that loyalty really shines through. So I'm going to stick with it. I mean, it's a pretty simple story, but I'm enjoying it. Issue number 1 really made me smile, so why not, man? So many of the comics I read are just so deep and whatnot. All right, let me scan through my cheat sheets here, because we got another Dark Horse, Hellboy and the B.P.R.D, 1953, folks. And they're doing kind of a different format here. I guess they're going to be releasing small stories, small one-shot stories in each one of these. Now, I don't know if this is going to be a 5-issue series like Hellboy and the B.P.R.D 1952 was, but in this, you get a double feature of Hellboy in England. Now, in case you didn't know, in 1953, I guess this was known as the salad years for Hellboy. He spent a year in England traveling the British Isles. And this kind of gives you 2 stories from that. The first is The Phantom Hand. And it reminded me of The Evil Dead 2. Hellboy stumbles across this hand, this severed hand, that seems to have a mind of its own. And they need to find out who this hand belongs to, and they got to stop the hand. I mean, if you saw Evil Dead 2, I don't even need to explain further. But this hand is, like, able to pick up knives. There they are poking it with a poker. It can walk, like in Evil Dead. So just such shades of that movie. So it's really interesting. It kind of looks like it's a bit of a comical story. You do have Ben Steinbeck doing the art. He did Frankenstein Underground earlier in the year, which was a great book. And then the second story, you have The Kelpie. And it's a Broomhome throwback story of when Broomhome was young. He's the leader, the original leader of the B.P.R.D, Bureau of Paranormal Research and Defense. The other cool thing is that if you've been reading Hellboy and B.P.R.D, they've always made like a lot of references to Broomhome, especially Hellboy. But you never really got to see Hellboy and Broomhome out in the field together, doing, work together, investigations together. This series, B.P.R.D. 1953, is going to give you that. So that's like a really good treat. The Kelpie, I guess, is a water horse, a horrible sort of creature that takes on the shape of a horse, tricks people onto its back, and then gallops into a pond to drown them. And there's a Kelpie, folks, in case you needed to know. So, Broomhome battles the Kelpie, a young Broomhome, I guess pre-B.P.R.D. I'm interested to see how that goes down. And, you know, I'm all for this one-shot short story format. I don't mind. It doesn't really bother me. To be honest, like I've said before, and I've complained, and I've heard people in the comment section below, it's hard to remember each month all the stories and all that's going on. It's very, very hard. Most of the time I say I forget like 75-80% of the books I read from month to month unless something big and major happens. So I kind of like this one-shot short story deal, you know, over and done with. I don't mind. I enjoy it. You know, Abe Sapien has had a couple one-shots lately. I've enjoyed those, so I really don't mind. And if that's the format they're going to use for 1953, a whole bunch of short stories, I'm on board, man. I mean, let me know what you think. If I'm crazy or if you just like the long, you know, ongoing stories, just let me know. All right, Paul Tobin, one of my favorite artists, Juan Ferrer, Colder, Toss the Bones continues. There's Nimble Jack. He reminds me, I'm having a hard time because Nimble Jack reminds me so damn much of the Joker, and it's really, really hard for me to separate the two. This continues the story of Declan, our troubled protagonist, who has a very shady past. A very, very shady past that he was once a serial killer who collected fingers, and whose fingers now are missing. They are now missing, which is interesting. But Nimble Jack apparently has been tracking Declan and Reese. There's Declan and Reese right there. There's Nimble Jack making his presence known finally. He's been tracking them for quite some time, secretly in the sly, because he's been able to shift through this world, Boston, and then there's a whole nother world, a whole nother dimension known as the Hunger World. There's not as much shifting in and out of these worlds in this book. But, God, it's just so hard for me to separate Nimble Jack from the Joker. You know, just even the way he looks and the mannerisms and the dancing and the prancing all around. So it's very, very hard. I'm almost feeling like it's kind of like a cop-out, but I'm still enjoying it. Nimble Jack does all this crazy stuff. He's feeding these dogs like beans or grains of corn, something, and it makes these dogs go crazy. So he sees these dogs tied up. He feeds them this kibble, or whatever you want to call it, and the dogs start to go nuts. One goes right in front of a car. It gets crushed. God, I love Juan's artwork. The others start to attack people viciously, resulting in someone having to shoot the dog. I mean, it's pretty graphic, man. You know, this is definitely M for mature. You don't want to give this to your kid for reading material. But I'm interested to see where this leads to. I'm really trying to look past Nimble Jack just being a Joker ripoff. Even the things he says, and I'm just telling you, the mannerisms, everything. So I'm really, really trying. But it is a great, creepy, psychological kind of horror book. Although I felt that Colder the Bad Seed had a much more eerie, scary feeling to it. And I did like the evil boss in that much better. I can't remember his name. Damn, I can't remember his name. But he was the guy that was collecting all the fingers and putting them in pots and making these finger plants grow. And they were all these like wicked, scary, fingery things. So if you're into horror, check it out. You won't regret it. You won't regret it. All right, Rumble, number 8, a Halloween issue. I'm giving this cover of the month. I'm saying it right now. Look at this. Ghouls, scary creatures in the background, and then you have one of our main characters whose name I can't remember, and some trick-or-treaters. Talk about an awesome Halloween cover that blows any of those putridly sucky, dog doo-doo-y DC Monster of the Month variant covers. Those things are horrible. They are the worst covers I've ever seen. I think it was the worst month of variant covers I've seen from DC in a long time. This is another special. I believe that they said that this is a one-shot issue. But in this issue, we get introduced to a new main character that I'm not going to reveal, that I'm not going to spoil. I didn't really get a chance to look this over. But if you're into B.P.R.D, if you're into James Herron, you're going to recognize his artwork right away. I mean, this is a straight-up Hellboy universe team working on this. It's John Arcudi, James Herron, and Dave Stewart, the colorist, who colors everything under the sun for Hellboy and Hellboy-related. Rack Wrath does some great, crazy stuff in this. Slices through dogs. I don't know, what is it this month with dogs? Dogs getting killed. I guess have artists that love to brutalize dogs. Rack Wrath, basically, he's a scarecrow because his soul has been put into a scarecrow while his superhero-like body is imprisoned on another planet or dimension, and he has to do all these things to get it back. And he has a couple Joe Schmoes from Earth that kind of got wrapped up into this accidentally and are on the quest to help him. That's in the lowest common denominator, simplest terms for you, folks. I love the artwork in this. Again, James Herron is phenomenal. He just has such a crazy, unique style with the creatures. That's actually like a pet Hydra, snake Hydra creature that this guy owns. And they always show that thing doing crazy, wacky stuff. I'm loving the way these kid trick-or-treaters are looking. So it's just another fun book, man. Makes me smile every time I read it. Because who doesn't love to see big monster creatures chomping up human beings? I know I do. Come on! Alright, people. And finally, we have The Wild's End, The Enemy Within, number 2. This takes place 2 weeks after the original series, The Wild's End, which was basically described as War of the Worlds meets Wind in the Willows. This one's being described as The Body Snatchers meets The X-Files. So, apparently, you know, these aliens have invaded Lower Churchill, which takes place in England in, like, the 1930s, where anthropomorphic animals rule. There's an anthropomorphic cat, a dog, another dog. It's all cats and dogs, people. They're anthropomorphic. Basically, the threat of these alien beings seems to have been abated, and the military has moved in. The military has moved in and has basically, like, quarantined this town. They kind of turned it into, like, an internment camp or something. And they want to question all the locals, all the main characters from the last book. You have all the people that were in the last series are in this again. They are going to be questioned. The military wants to find out what the hell happened, what went on. Nobody can leave until the military gets answers. The military actually brings in these 2 consultants, special consultants, who are actually the country's leading science fiction writers. And there they are right there. Now, I can't remember their names. This guy with the hair and the colored eyes, actually, his name is Kornfeld. I can't remember what the cat's name is. Who's actually, let me give you a better picture. This guy here. Kornfeld and this cat character here, they do not like one another. In the first book, in book number 1, they actually meet each other on a train. And at first they didn't know who they were. Then they started talking. And apparently Kornfeld, the dog author, is kind of like the new upstart science fiction writer. All his stuff has been selling like mad, been selling like crazy. And the cat character has been like a classic science fiction writer that's been around for years. He believes very strongly in his craft. He actually does a lot of like scientific work to get all of his ideas. and it's based on really strong theories. And I guess the other writer, it's more made-up stuff. And think Gravity, right? That movie Gravity that all the scientists and astrologists kind of picked up pieces. I guess think that kind of stuff. Anyway, I don't know. It seems far-fetched the military would call in those two guys to do the questioning. But hey, what do I know? I'm willing to roll with it. I'm interested to see where the dynamic goes between those two characters. And it turns out that Cornfelt, this guy right here, his wife is the alcoholic cat character, Susan. You remember her? She was the scaredy cat character. You see her with the eyes in the dark, who had the drinking problem. Well, it turns out that Cornfelt is her ex-husband. So dropping bombs in this book. I mean, this is just really a book that's just about relationships, you know. It's like really about the relationships between the characters. Very character-driven. Think Walking Dead, right? You know, it's almost like the zombies are just filler, you know. They're just there. It's really the relationship between the characters and the passions and the tensions between the characters that really makes, you know, The Walking Dead, if you ask me. And that's what really makes this book, and that's why I enjoy the book so much. So I say check it out, man. It's not the most exciting book, but if you know, just want to read something that's different and interesting and has great coloring by Colbert. I love the coloring in that, and I love the big starry sky that he draws. It just looks great. I love how that looks with the lighting. I mean, check it out, man. Wild's End, people. The Enemy Within, number 2 of a 6-issue series. All right, guys, that's another one in the books. Let me know what comic books you're liking, what you're disliking, what are you buying right now, what are you most looking forward to. And everybody have a safe and happy Halloween if I don't put up another video before then. I'm still trying to find the time to do more in-depth reviews of single books or graphic novels. Eventually, I'll get around to it. It's just my schedule at work has been just so crazy, so nuts. I'm trying to wrap this up now. It's about 9 o'clock, and my work day started today at around 7, so 7 this morning. So, doing the best I can, people. I hope you're still enjoying the haul. If you have any feedback or comments, suggestions, just let me know, man. I always love to hear people's opinions, and I always love to hear what you're thinking about my haul. All right, guys. Have a good week if I don't see you before then. Happy Halloween. Peace. Bye.